Hello, Dr. Jacobson. I did my service learning hour on October 23rd, 2012, in Mrs. Percival's classroom at Washington Traditional School. I was located in the same classroom as last time. It's the beach-themed classroom. At this visit, I was taking in more of the surroundings than what I usually do. I noticed that there are 5 rows of six desks each, and they sit in boy-girl patterns. For my hour I spent there, I started off doing some individual reading, as I usually do. It's a reading group, and the students have the first 15 minutes of class to sit down and read. Um, since I'm there, she has me do one-on-one reading with whatever students feel that they want to do that with me and get help on their books and read aloud. All 5 other visits I've been there, I have only had one boy who has asked to come read with me. And so I'm usually just with girls reading. And this last time, I had a boy named Jacob who was starting off on his first chapter book, and he was very, very proud of himself, but he was also very nervous. So he approached me and he said that he was starting a new chapter book and if I would help him get it started. So Jacob and I sat and read together for the full 15 minutes. Um, he had a hard time sitting still, but was enjoying the one on one time that I was giving him to read. Usually, with the girls, for example, when they get stuck on a word, they just look at me and ask for help on pronouncing the words, and I help them. Well, with Jacob, it was different because I would pronounce the words, and then he would look at me and ask, "What does that mean?" And I was actually surprised that he cared to know what the word meant and how it was applied to the book because usually when I'm doing the readings, it's just, I honestly think that half of the time the kids are reading, they don't even understand what's going on in the book. They're just reading the book out loud. So for him to acknowledge the words was like really surprising and nice for me to watch him be so intrigued. Um, so after reading time, the kids got put into groups of threes to work on their spelling words. The directions were to all get together and they all each had their own sheet of paper and then they would work together as a group to pronounce the words and then apply the words in sentences. And so I was told I have to walk around the classroom, check on each group, make sure they're doing their assignments, see if they need any help. And so after they all got into their groups, I was going around from group to group, and I noticed how the groups with 2 girls and 1 boy, the girls were very, very assertive over leading the group, which I've noticed in past times, but I noticed it a lot more in this session because there were a lot of groups where there's only 2 girls and 1 boy, and the girls would be completely on top of all the words. Um, uh, the boys just basically just like followed along and didn't really say much, didn't really put their input in much. There are a couple of times where I would get down on their level with a group and I would tell them that they need to give everyone a chance to help and practice their words and that maybe they should take turns each time so that way it would be everybody in the group actually working on the projects instead of just the girls doing it. um, the little boy, Jacob, that I was helping earlier, seemed to be having a tough time staying in his group. He kept on getting up, walking around to another group, going to talk to his friends, and Miss Percival had to keep on threatening him that if he didn't sit and stay in his group, that she would send him to the principal's office. Well, after she threatened to send him to the principal's office, he had a complete meltdown and went underneath the bottom of the desk and was like kicking the desk and like kind of screaming at her and just having a horrible fit. And so she came up to me and she was like, "Hey, if I tell Jacob that he needs to sit down, will you sit down next to him with his group?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." And so that's what I did. So I ended up working with him within his group, sitting next to him, telling him, like, "Hey, you need to read out the next word, you need to follow along." But I was really confused as to earlier I was just working with this boy, reading a book one on one with him, and he was paying attention, sitting still, not misbehaving, and then the second he gets put into a group, it was like a completely different role switch for him. So it was like a challenge to deal and have to deal with the first reprimanding of a child than I had before, so that was different. But overall, it worked out because having me sit there made him do the work and participate and not keep on getting back up. And I didn't even have to ask him, like, hey, you need to stay sitting. He just did. So for the definition and the word that I'm going to apply to this session is differential socialization. And the definition is the belief that women and men are different because we are taught to be different. Holds that male children undergo quite different socialization than females. Fathers seem to be in the deciding factor in the early years of life, with both parents support the division in later childhood. Other role models, siblings, peer, and media influence. And I found this one I could connect this completely to the hour because in the classroom setting, girls are more capable on taking on the role of task than boys. They are there to get their work done. They know what they're doing, and they want to be the leader of the groups and keep everybody from getting off tasks. And also, with Jacob and his disruptive attitude, I had to serve as a role model to him. And he did look at me as a role model because he came to me and asked me to help him with his book. And then also, when I sat down with him when he was misbehaving with his group, once I sat down, my authority figure there made him participate and made him understand that, hey, we got to get this done. So I think that differential socialization can be applied in two ways, in the ways of how the girls and the boys work within their groups, and then also how I was a role model to Jacob and how boys do operate differently than girls. I don't think that we're completely taught to be different, but I think that, like, with the surroundings in a classroom, boys and girls act differently based off of their communication skills and their working skills. So that was all. My time is up. Thank you for watching.